hey, you want to go play with inflatable genitalia?
That's actually not a bad thing to think about your toenails.
Well, you're like this close to being a cult leader.
Doing like a loose penguin arm.
Yeah, I can come up with a better mantra than that.
Sushi jackknife. 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 Sushi jackknife.
Welcome to Sushi Jackknife.
Yeah.
We have to get right into something this week.
Right into. Well, it's hot. It's on my mind. I'm a little bit steamed.
You steamed like a clam, Nathan.
I'm steamed.
Are you steamed like a clam, or are you steamed like a broccoli floree?
It's like halfway in between.
Okay.
Like a very lightly steamed clam. We'll say that.
Did I put olive oil on you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Extra virgin.
Oh, of course. Is there any other kind, really? When you buy oil at the store that just says olive oil on it?
Yeah, that's whorish olive oil.
Oh. It's congealed piss of the masses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You have extra virgin or you've got whore olive oil. Those are the only two choices.
Whore oil.
Yeah.
I would like to go back in and edit every single episode of Rachel Ray to just say whore oil instead of EVOO.
It would make her show so much more entertaining.
It would. EVOO.
I'm mostly saying that as an insult to Rachel Ray.
Yes, me too.
Because her show's awful.
Fuck Rachel Ray.
So the reason I'm hot here is it started earlier tonight.
Yes.
I was on Twitter, like I do, at Badlands Badly.
Problem 1.
Follow me.
Yeah.
And I started reading a conversation between the head of the Negro League Baseball Museum and a blogger for the not for the Cleveland Indians.
Okay.
A blogger that blogs about the Cleveland Indians.
Okay.
The Cleveland Indians have no idea that this man exists. They couldn't care less. If something terrible happened to him, like just some devastating injury, the Cleveland Indians would know nothing about it. That's the level of relationship he has to the Cleveland Indians.
Sounds like he might be planning something.
It's the same level of relationship I have to the Royals.
Okay.
I love the Royals. The Royals don't know that I exist.
And maybe tell people what the Negro League Museum is.
Well, yeah,
in case they don't
I'm
know.
getting there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm getting there.
I'm sorry.
Before Jackie Robinson
Yes.
came and broke the color barrier in the sport of baseball,
The baseball.
there were the Negro Leagues.
Yes.
Where black players, if you can't figure it out by the name, that's a problem. But black players played baseball in the Negro Leagues.
Yes.
And many of the greatest baseball players of that era were in that league. It's riddled with legends that we can't fully corroborate. Cool Papa Bell was faster than the speed of light, flipped a light switch, got into his bed in the hotel room. We don't know that that's a fact.
Seems amazing, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, imagine how many stolen bases he'd have in the major leagues.
And what a
1 million.
What a great name.
Yeah. Cool
Great
Papa
name.
Bell.
Cool Papa Bell.
Well, and if you want good baseball names, the Negro Leagues are where to go.
Yeah.
Because you got all the nicknames like that. But anyway, I'm not going to get off on that tangent.
Okay. All right.
So the man who is the head of the Negro League Museum had taken umbrage with this Cleveland Indians blogger.
Yes.
Who no one cares about. His name's Ryan McChrystal. No one cares about it.
Is it at Ryan McChrystal?
It's at TribeFan Mick. Two
Okay.
C's. Mick.
Okay.
Who was saying that modern day players are stronger than players from olden time.
Like
We'll say
physically,
that.
physically stronger.
Physically stronger.
Okay.
Okay. Josh Gibson, as the Negro League president pointed out, a catcher for the Homestead Grays, swung a bat that was 40 ounces heavy.
Okay.
Much heavier than most modern bats. Those are like 30 ounces, 31 ounces, 29 ounces.
They vary a
all around
little
there.
bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, per player.
Per player. Okay.
They get their preference.
Right. Sure.
So they went back and forth for a while. And I didn't say anything while I was reading until the point that Ryan McChrystal said something along the lines of, and he's deleted all his tweets.
Wow.
So I can't quote him directly.
Wow.
But something about how all of those stories will die with you, old man.
Oh my God. To the guy that runs the Negro League Museum?
Yeah. You know, the guy who just got $1 million from Major League Baseball for his museum.
Yeah.
Because they recognize the historical significance
Well,
of it.
there you go. There you go.
So at that point, I can't be quiet anymore.
So you came to his defense.
Well, passive-aggressively.
Okay.
I'll say it was passive-aggressive. I didn't say anything.
Is there any other way on Twitter? Well, I guess there is aggressive on Twitter.
There's very aggressive.
I've been aggressive
Although,
before.
I will say my name is on my Twitter, so I'm not going to just troll for the sake of trolling.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I'm not.
You're not
I'm
anonymous.
Yeah, it's not
on
an
Twitter.
egg picture on my Twitter. It's my face.
You know that little egg picture, it just strikes me, is just so filled with potential.
That's true. You have no idea what's in that egg.
You don't know what's in
it
that
could
egg.
be anything.
Lots
Bird,
of
dinosaur.
bullshit tweets. That's true. It could be a dinosaur.
Yeah. So my passive-aggressive version here was to just take a screenshot of baseballhall.org on the Josh Gibson page where it says, and I quote, "The Sporting News, baseball's written authority for decades, credited Gibson in 1967 with hitting a 580-foot home run in Yankee Stadium.
Whoa.
The ball landed 2 feet from the top of the bleacher wall. Josh was a better power hitter than Babe Ruth, Ted Williams, or anybody I'd ever seen," said former Cleveland Buckeye pitcher. I cut it off at that point because
Okay.
it didn't. My point
Was
had gotten
irrelevant.
across. This is from the Hall of Fame.
Right.
So, so I gave him this. He, in turn, started going at me saying it was scientifically impossible and told me to go back under my bridge, troll. Which, again, I will point out, you're not a troll if your name is on your account.
That's true. And you didn't start the trolling. He started the trolling.
Right.
You came to the defense.
So he said it's not true, and I said, okay, I'll pass that along to the Sporting News and the Baseball Hall of Fame.
You're defending not only the Negro League Museum, you're defending a historical figure.
A historical figure, and in, a roundabout way, the Sporting News, a very viable news source for baseball,
Okay.
and the Baseball Hall of Fame.
You are.
Okay.
Yeah, you're
I feel very noble. At
you
this
should
point.
be. I see your armor.
So then he said, and I'm going to have to bounce back and forth because, as previously mentioned, this got me blocked. So
understand.
I'm having to go roundabout to find his tweets
Okay.
to me.
Sure.
Let's see.
But the stores. The chores.
He told me your, quote, evidence is a sports writer taking a wild guess. A wild guess that the ball landed 2 rows back in the... It has a specific location. But anyway.
Interesting.
And likely intentionally exaggerating. Back under your bridge, troll. There we go. The problem is it's proven false. It's like citing a flat earth theory written before we knew the earth was round. And I said...
I don't find that analogous.
No, it's actually very, very poor logic. And I'm not citing proven evidence. I'm just saying that the Negro League Baseball president isn't just pulling this stuff out of thin air.
Right.
Just relax, friend. Breathe.
You're the worst person to fight with.
Right? And let's see. And then he deleted this one, so I don't remember exactly what it was.
Okay.
But it was something along the lines of the logic of this argument is very Trumpian.
Oh.
Which is not a card you want to play to me.
No.
So I said, well, you can agree to disagree then. and maybe do it more politely and less like the obnoxious hot take writers on ESPN in the middle of the day.
Ooh.
And that got me blocked. It wasn't even that bad.
No, it wasn't. You were being very civil, it seems.
Yeah.
Passive-aggressive, yes, but civil as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's a hot take person.
He's a hot take person.
And hot take people are all douchebags.
That
This goes out to Skip Bayless.
Who is that? I don't know.
A hot take sports guy.
Okay, all right.
He's the definition of it. Real quick rundown on Skip Bayless. This is all you need to know. Skip Bayless wrote a book about the Dallas Cowboys, and in the book said that Troy Aikman is gay.
Oh my God.
Which makes you a terrible person for two reasons. Number one, you just outed a person for no reason.
Right.
And number two, it's not true, so you're bad at research.
There you go.
So, meh.
Hot take, maybe it's not a term that gets around too much outside of the sports.
Oh, it doesn't. It's a very sports term.
Okay, so it just means like...
I'll put it in music terms.
Okay, that'll help me.
If you were talking to a person and you mentioned the band Weezer.
Yes.
And a person said, Rivers Cuomo gave up after the Blue Album and has never tried to write anything good ever again. That's a dramatic hot take.
Oh, okay, I see.
Akin to what you would find on sports radio.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's funny is when you said that, I was already preparing my defense in my head.
That's what happens.
Oh, yes, I see.
If you
how
listen
this
to
works.
sports talk radio,
okay,
3 out of every 4 shows are people making hot takes, and then people calling in going, I think you're way off base. And the host goes, I don't think so. You're an idiot. Hang up. It's a really civil discussion.
it sounds fun for people.
It's good. It raises people up.
It sounds Taoist. I'll say that.
Yeah.
It's very in tune with nature and the way.
It's why I don't listen to sports talk radio very often.
Well, it also sounds quite a lot like politics, politics these days, of which I'm sure we'll get to.
Oh, there's a lot to get to there.
This evening. By the way, if you're not listening and it's not evening time, just know that we're experiencing evening for you.
That's true.
We've both had a few drinks. It's 8-something o'clock in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a place filled with good vibes.
Mysterious,
good
they're
vibes.
okay vibes.
An old recording studio. We've had black and mild wines. Not the finest cigar around, but rather enjoyable. I'm going to try to convince Nathan to go have another cigar later.
We'll see.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
So we're coming to you at a very evening space tonight. It's a Friday night. Mm-hmm. The world is quiet.
It's very zen in here.
It's very zen, except for
now that I've stopped yelling about Twitter. It's very zen.
Well, there's a calm. Well, you released. You had a catharsis and then a calm, right? Despite the party barges, the pedal taverns, and the mobile back porches that go by every few seconds here in Nashville.
That's a new one.
Everything is pretty chill. There's a tractor as well. And a bus. There's a party bus, too.
Can I, real quick,
Yeah.
anyone out there who is considering or has a loved one who's considering having a bachelorette party in the city of Nashville.
Yes.
Stop them. Or stop yourself.
Or at least cut down on the inflatable penises. We get it. We get it already.
It's a bachelorette party. You want to be surrounded by dongs.
Well, I mean,
of a variety of color. It's like
colors?
Dongs.
No, they're always
there's flesh colored, but then some glow in the dark.
Caucasian flesh colored.
Yeah. You know what? I never thought about it.
It's a racist industry.
Bachelorette parties are racist.
There you go.
You never see a bachelorette party carrying around a black dong.
White girl bachelorette parties, at least, that I've experienced.
Well, I mean, that's what we have in Nashville.
One of many references to a prior show tonight is a show we did where we walked around downtown Nashville and we ran into a bachelorette party. It was a multi-generational. There were mothers there.
Which is awkward.
With a blow-up doll with a proportionally sized penis, which we signed.
Right.
Yeah. Pretty sure you can see a picture on that on Tumblr somewhere in the abyss of Tumblr.
So
sorry.
I know. People have different relationships with their parents than I do.
Oh, I thought you were going to say penis.
My parents, if I said, "Hey, you want to go have a drink?" No.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a no.
Not. Yeah.
And definitely, hey, you want to go play with inflatable genitalia and have a drink? No.
This is what I'm proposing instead of Monopoly right now. Nathan's into weird stuff. I have a different relationship with my parents. Like I could have a drink with them.
Would you hang out though with either of your parents?
No.
No. To make it equal, it would have to be with your dad and an inflatable vagina.
Gross. That's gross. Either scenario is gross. You know.
It's weird.
It's weird and gross. So anyway,
bachelorette parties are weird.
Well, we're also two dudes. I mean, we don't know. We don't know what it's like to be ladies.
That's okay. I can still declare that weird.
Okay, fine.
I feel okay with it.
That's the misogyny coming in, guys.
You know what? I'm fine with it. If that makes me a misogynist,
it's pretty mild.
So be it.
Pretty mild on the scale of misogyny. I'm just saying. It's pretty mild.
I'm pretty sure if I were female, I would still look at a bachelorette party and go, ugh.
It's just a little...
I look at parties and go, ugh.
I do too. Well, social gatherings in general. I mean, I like to hang out with one other person where we record our thoughts.
1, 2, maybe 3 at the most.
Right.
You get 4 people in that room.
It's too much.
I'm shutting down.
I kind of feel the same way, actually.
I'm done with it.
People often think that I'm extroverted because I'm more extroverted than a lot of introverts. But I'm actually dead. Like, I've taken the Myers-Briggs.
Yeah.
I am dead fucking center on the Myers-Briggs for introvert extrovert.
See, I'm very
dead center,
very introvert.
Well, I know that.
Like if you look at it, I'm down here.
Yeah,
down here on the introvert. It's way below. The
you
middle.
Don't seem it too much. Outwardly.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
And I've had it explained to me this way, and it makes sense to me this way. Being an introvert or an extrovert isn't based on how you relate.
Yes.
It's how you get your energy.
That's right. That is right.
And I can, in a group of people, talk to people, enjoy the people. I don't have a bad time.
Right, right.
I'm fried by the end of it.
That's how I feel too.
I want to go home and collapse and never talk to another person again.
Yep. For at least like 12 hours. Yeah. That's exactly how I feel. And I think that's the way it's explained. It's been explained to me that way too. And that makes the most sense for me. That makes me see my introvertedness a little more because there are times when I am exhilarated by people. There are times. Usually it's when I'm getting them to go along with something that I want to do.
So you're just exhilarated by people following you.
Well, yeah.
You're like this close to being a cult leader.
I'm a dictator a little bit. A little culty dictator. Mostly I'm getting them to like participate with me in something creative.
Right.
Like that gets me exhilarated. Like if we like bust out a track one day, which has happened before.
Yeah.
Or we're like playing music together or something like that. Or like, I don't know, if we're writing something. Like when you and I have written together.
Yeah.
That was exhilarating for me, right?
Yeah.
I love that. But I feel the same way. Like I lose my ability to be around people all day. And then at the end of the day, I'm done and I want to be alone.
Exactly.
You know? And I need like dedicated time alone to really be around other people.
It gets to the point sometimes where like on a Friday, not a Saturday. A Saturday is a different thing because I haven't seen people.
Sure.
But I come home from work and my wife will want to go do something. And it's more me going, okay, you want to go do something. Fine. I eventually relent just because I know it will make her happy when all I want to do is go sit down on my couch in my own living room where I control the temperature and the noise.
I totally get that.
Just
I totally get that.
be.
Quiet is really nice. And I'm glad we got to this. I name dropped the Dow earlier. I've been listening to I flirted with. Okay, this is actually a long story.
Okay.
I didn't realize I was going to get into this, but we're getting into it.
Here we go.
All right.
It's happening.
Sushi jackknife. That's not the end of the show. For those paying attention.
Actually, that would be the best end of the show. What? It's 10 minutes and then it's just over.
I'm gonna get into this. Snaps, nothing. In credits. Bum bum. Have you ever listened to the end music on this show? It's really good. I made it. I ripped off a little bit, but anyway.
Who'd you rip off?
Alan Toussaint's drummer, who I don't know who it was.
Are you going to?
A little bit.
Are you going to tag them on this episode?
I'm
so
sure
they know?
he's dead. I'm sure he's dead. Lovely guy, a great drummer. Alan Toussaint was a great composer. He's also dead. Anyway, go listen to "Get Out Your Life, Woman," and you'll hear the drums on the end music of our track. I didn't pay for those. I hope no one hears that I
Well,
didn't.
they can take all the money that we earn from those episodes.
The negative money.
Yeah.
They can have all that money. So anyway, I've been... when I was about 15, I went to the Discovery Channel store in the mall.
I'm familiar.
This doesn't exist anymore, I don't think.
Which is a shame because it was a great store.
It was a fun store.
They had animal stuff everywhere. Like everything you
So
would
educational.
want. Yeah.
And kind of at random, I picked up a book on Zen. It's just called Zen. It's an introduction to Zen Buddhism or Zen practice.
It
right?
feels like an odd thing to be at the Discovery store, but everything at the Discovery store seemed like an odd thing to be at the Discovery store.
It's like if PBS had a store.
Yeah.
Which
It's
I wish
just everything.
existed. That would be great if that existed. So I pick up this book and I start reading, and that kind of led me to doing a bit of meditation. And it was very heavy. I mean, I was 15 when I bought this book, and it was just really heady and over my head. It makes a lot more sense now. But as a 15-year-old, I didn't grasp
15-year-olds
any
are
of
not
it
ready
at
for
all.
that,
Right?
no.
I'm not saying I grasp it fully now, but I grasp it more. So it was kind of an introduction to what is Zen, right?
Right.
So I used to go out in the woods and like meditate when I was a kid.
On your rock?
Sometimes on the rock.
On the big rock?
You remember the rock?
Hey!
And sometimes there was this tree that was like 8 trees growing out of one tree.
I love those trees.
I called it the 8 tree. Mm-hmm. And I used to meditate there sometimes too in the woods. It was great. So I flirted with that for a long time. Kind of forgot about it for a long period. And
now,
then it
real quick.
Yeah.
When we talk meditation,
Yeah.
are we talking transcendental?
No.
Okay, so just
I didn't have a mantra. I just sat there and
because
was quiet. And
I'm all for.
breathed and
I do occasional meditation, but the mantra, no, that's not happening ever in my life.
Look, that's one way. You know?
What would happen if I had that was I would pick a mantra,
Right.
and I'd start meditating, and 1 minute into my meditation, I'd be like, I can come up with a better mantra than that, and then I'd spend the rest of my time trying to come up with a different mantra.
You would edit the mantra as you went. 'Cause
I'd
you're a
never
writer.
have a good mantra.
This is my draft 57 mantra. Yeah.
I know I can do better than this one. Ugh.
So I flirt with it for many years. I go back and forth, right, doing it, and I've meditated at different times. Never, I mean, periods of consistency and then drop off. And I've listened to books on it and read books on it here and there, and listened to podcasts and stuff. I found a podcast this week about Taoism. It's called "What's This Tao All About?" It's a great show where you've got this guy who is a Taoist preacher. I mean, not preacher, teacher. See. I'm in this worldview, right? And a guy who knows very little and is just kind of getting into it, right? And he's, it's light. It's very light, but it's also it has its deep moments. So I've been listening to that. It's funny that you mentioned transcendental because on one show, the teacher is like, "Yeah, I have all their mantras written down. So if you want them, I'll give them to you." People pay thousands and thousands of dollars to do transcendental,
Right.
Like,
And then he's just stealing mantras.
yeah, like the Seinfelds of the world, and I think David Lynch does it.
Right.
A
Well,
few
and
other people.
isn't that? I mean, that's what the Beatles went and
Yeah, they were doing
did
transcendental.
for months at a time in India.
Yeah,
And-
which resulted in the White Album.
Yeah.
So, Dear Prudence, right, was like one of the women wouldn't come out or something.
I still imagine that they went there for transcendental meditation for the most part. And Ringo's a goofball.
Ringo's a goofball.
I just imagine he was there trying to mess with everyone while they were meditating. Like just sticking his finger in John's ear. And
one really interesting thing that I found that kind of, you occasionally have these moments in life where you're like, whoa, a major connection happened. Where it's like, okay, something that I connect with at a real, true, deepish sort of place. I say deepish because deep kind of ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
Everything's really deep when you're 17.
right.
And when you're an adult, I'm 32.
Well, and inevitably, whatever you're about to say,
Yeah.
some person will go, yeah, that's pretty deep.
Well,
and then the next person listening to it will go, what an idiot.
What an asshole.
What a jackass. What?
Fuck this podcast. Which I routinely say when I'm editing. Not really. No heavy editing goes into this. Believe me, guys. So
They believe you.
they believe me. They know it to be true. So I found out years later because I connected with Zen, but not Buddhism as a whole.
Right.
The Dalai Lama is a great guy, but like the Tibetans get into some interesting kind of almost like Catholic Buddhism kind of things that I'm sort
weird.
of like.
It gets weird.
It's deep. It's deep, right? There are characters, and I don't really want characters. Does that make sense? I want like vanilla philosophical, kind of general type things, right? For the most part. I mean, the other stuff is interesting, but it turns me off, right? At a certain level. So I found out not too long ago that Zen grew out of Taoism, this particular branch of Taoism. I think it's called, I'm probably getting this wrong, but Chen, or it sounds like Zen. And Zen was the Japanese interpretation, Chan. This Chan Buddhism incorporated a lot of Taoism.
Interesting.
And then Zen comes out of Japan's interpretation of Chan. So I was like, oh my God, the same things that I've been interested in since I was a kid all tie back to this thing, right?
So Zen is essentially a copy of a copy.
It's a copy of it's a Xerox.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's a lot of Taoism incorporated into Buddhism, right? And Zen, I don't know if anyone knows, but Zen is the most like funny / difficult to understand, but also like profound kind of thing that I've ever encountered. You know what I mean? And Taoism is just like, well, you take the sort of not really worship of the Buddha, but you take the admiration of the Buddha out of it because it's like, well, before that guy, we still had the same ideas. You know what I mean? So it's really interesting, and I definitely recommend What's This Tao All About? Tao is how you spell Tao, even though you say it like D.
Right.
To people out there. Don't know how we got here, but I felt like it was worth mentioning. And
anyone who is listening to this getting tripped up on the religious idea of meditation, first off, gently I'm going to tell you to knock it off. But the reason is in meditation, there's like a strong scientific background into the benefits of it. So there's a guy who came to speak to my work a while back. We're back to sports, by the way. This is fun.
Oh, great.
He's a sports scientist.
Sports to Zen.
He's a sports psychologist type of guy.
Okay.
That works with people like Steph Curry.
Wow.
Big names
Yeah.
in the sports industry. And one of the big things he teaches them is mindfulness.
Oh, yeah.
Because if your mind is clouded, you can't make as quick of decisions. You can't do anything as quickly.
Right.
So there's a scientific study he was talking about, and I know I'm going to get the number here wrong.
Sure.
But the brain benefits from meditation.
Yes.
The minimum amount to benefit your brain, the minimum amount is 6 minutes of meditation a day.
Okay. All right.
To get your brain to peak ability,
yes,
it's about 25 minutes.
Okay.
You have to meditate a day.
Okay.
And your brain starts firing at its peak.
That's
now, of course, I don't know that because I make it to 6 and I'm like, I'm done. I can't do any more.
Yes.
I'm thinking about, my toenails or whatever.
That's actually not a bad thing to think about your toenails.
Well, but in the context I'm thinking about them, it's not great.
Okay.
It's not like, I wonder what my toenails are,
feeling.
It's more along the lines of, I really should clip those.
Those are disgusting.
No. I know I have clippers. Where are they at? I think they're in this drawer. The last time I saw them, they weren't there. They were in the laundry room. Well,
and then you're angry at your wife because you're like, she probably
did
moved
she
them.
move it?
Yeah. That's interesting because, and there is a lot of science behind the benefits of meditation.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, anyone who denies it is just ignoring science. So you're probably a flat Earth, global, climate change denier.
Yeah.
You're Trump.
Yeah.
You're Donald Trump.
If you're who could greatly benefit from meditation, I think. Anyone can.
But
can you imagine?
You know him. He wouldn't actually do it, and then he'd start going, who's the best at meditation? Me. I meditate better than anyone else. 400 minutes a day.
I can levitate. I'm so mindful. I'm the most mindful person you'll ever meet. He's talking to the Dalai Lama.
Exactly.
I'm so mindful, Dalai Lama. Can I call you DL? Can we keep this on the DL?
I talked to the Dalai Lama. He's a great guy. Not as great as me. I meditate better.
That's why I'm now offering Trump meditation cushions. By the way, if you don't know anything about meditation, I feel like most people today know something about meditation.
If they don't, they should.
It does not have to be complicated. It does not have to be hard.
It's just breathing.
It's just breathing. You don't have to have any special equipment. If you get a cushion, great. If you don't get a cushion, fine. You can sit in a chair, whatever.
At work, take a break, and I go into a room where no one is at.
There you go.
And I sit down.
That's perfect.
That is the amount of equipment it requires.
Yes.
A quiet place.
I do it in a chair at work a lot of times. And then at home, I do have a cushion, which has been an aid and a hindrance at different points because of the way my body feels from day to day.
I couldn't do a cushion.
Well, when you sit a certain way, it definitely helps. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. The 6 minutes thing is really interesting to me.
Yeah.
I worked up to doing, when I am being consistent, 12 minutes. And I feel a shift happen at about 10.
Yeah.
Where I sort of, busy goes away. The busy mind goes away.
You can feel it if you do, even if you do 4 or 5 minutes, you can feel a difference from the beginning to the end.
It's beneficial.
Your brain is clearer.
Yeah.
You're more relaxed.
Right.
You don't, things that happen just don't stress you out
as much.
Yeah.
Right.
They'll still stress you out.
Right.
But
right. But it's not, things are a little, the volume's turned down on everything a little bit.
To add to it, and this is my own scientific study here.
Okay. All right.
Mildly scientific. Let's not get crazy here.
Okay.
My work has decided they don't want all the employees to die.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. It's a really positive aspect of them. So they, to help us, installed a blood pressure cuff.
Oh, that's neat.
Into one of the tiny rooms off of the break room. I don't know why the room exists. It's a little tiny room off of the break room.
Maybe it's for you to meditate in, bro.
Maybe now.
Might be.
So I have done an experiment where I take my blood pressure while I'm working. And then I meditate for 6 minutes.
Okay.
And I take my blood pressure again.
Yes.
Instantly, it was I say instantly, 6 minutes later.
That's pretty instant, though.
Right.
Yeah.
It was down 20 points.
Wow.
Now, obviously, I was stressed going into it.
Yes.
It was not like I came in and I relaxed for 5 minutes before I took my blood pressure.
Right.
But some of that helps there,
By the way, in our podcast feed, you will find 2 things. 1, a sarcastic take on a meditation tape.
It was really good.
It is actually pretty good. I like it a lot.
Just,
And then some legit music that Diebert and I made. You'll remember Diebert from episode 60, 61 or so.
Diebert.
Oh, she should come back on. We need her to come back on. She's great.
For episode 100.
Oh, yeah.
I want Diebert on.
I was planning on having her around.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't talked to her about it, but
Well, she's going to do it. Tell her I say so.
episode 100 is coming.
I miss Dilbert so much.
She's great. She's a great presence. Very, very calm.
She's actually the most calming presence we've had on this
Oh,
podcast.
100%. 100%. You and I are not calming at all.
Oh, no.
No. This show a lot of times is like, hey, I'm nervous about X.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a while.
We're all gonna die!
Politics. Stupid joke. Anyway.
I'm laughing so I don't cry.
That is a lot of the thesis of this show.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm laughing so I don't cry. So, yeah. And I've done the 12 minutes twice a day before, which is really nice. Once kind of in the morning time ish, 10 o'clock ish, and then in the evening right before bed, which is good because otherwise I'd just be watching the same episodes of Whose Line from the 90s UK version again to fall asleep.
It can't be funny the second time.
Oh, it almost gets better. There's a point. I'm at the point where I'm searching out older seasons on YouTube.
Okay.
Because they're not on Hulu. And yeah, there's a point. So I'm
you
reaching the
burnt
point.
yourself out on the Hulu.
Few, because I like know the bits. Here's how I know what episode I'm watching. Two things. Clive Anderson's tie.
Okay.
He never repeats it. Who is directly behind Clive Anderson?
Okay.
Because they are so identifiable. There's like a person over each shoulder almost.
Now,
right?
when you're watching this, are there certain participants that you're watching and you're like, oh, crap.
They're on?
Yeah.
Like contestants?
Yeah, like
Performers?
I think he was on the British one a couple times. Wayne Brady. Or I know Ryan Stiles was on the or on the British one.
Oh, yes. Well, okay, so here's can I give you my ultimate Whose Line lineup?
Go ahead. No one's going to care about this except me. Go ahead.
Nope. Ryan Stiles.
Uh-huh.
And this is in no particular order because I love them all for different reasons.
Ryan Stiles is fantastic.
He is really fucking good at improv.
I don't know what happened to him after the Drew Carey show. I know he was on that.
He was on that.
And
he was on Whose Line first.
Yeah.
And I don't know what he did before
else.
that.
I have no idea where
he is
at.
Fucking brilliant at improv. Brilliant. He's really great.
Yeah.
Colin Mockery is also really good.
Yes. He has a podcast, I believe.
Oh, really?
Maybe. No, not him. The
third.
Keep going.
Well, this is going to hit it for you. The third is Greg Proops.
That's
Greg
who
Proops
has
a
podcast.
podcast.
That's it.
Greg Proops, I like a lot as a human being in a lot of ways. I think he's hilarious. He is fantastic on Whose Line. He would always argue with Clive Anderson, the host, continually. He is so snarky. They're so snarky, but you can tell they like each other. But they're also being really
Greg
hard
Proops,
on each other. I love Greg.
There's
Proops.
not really another way to describe Greg Proops on that show other than bitchy.
He is.
Like
he is.
he's little bitchy,
but he's great. He's also really fucking good at it.
Yeah.
He's really funny.
Oh, well, he plays bitchy really well.
Well, the three of them are. I don't even care who the fourth person is. If the three of them are on. That's my favorite combo.
Okay.
I like.
Man, you went really American.
Oh, I did. Well, yeah. Well, one Canadian, two Americans. Yeah.
Well, I guess, yeah.
There are some early ones. Well, there's some throughout where Stephen Fry is on. He's not that good at improv.
No.
But I just like seeing Stephen Fry.
Anything with Stephen Fry is good.
There's the guy. Fuck. Another American who I like. The kind of bigger guy. Fuck, his name escapes me right now, but he's actually really funny. Josie Lawrence is great. She's British. I think she's actually fantastic. And the other woman whose name Carolyn, cannot remember her last name right now. She is also great.
I always
when they're
felt
on
like,
together, it's wonderful too.
I always felt like it was weird on that show. So when I was a kid, I watched the American version of it.
Yeah,
and then Comedy Central started airing reruns of the British version.
That's where I saw it.
And I was like, oh, I don't care about the American version.
That's exactly
anymore.
how I
Drew
felt.
Carey, shut up.
Yeah.
You shut up.
Yeah. Clive is much better.
But both versions, it was shocking the lack. Like, looking back on it, I would watch it and I'd be like, oh, there's a woman.
Yeah.
It was really rare.
Oh, it was very rare. I mean,
and I know
there
are a lot of women who do improv.
Oh, yes.
Why were they not on there?
I feel the same way.
Was it Clive Anderson?
No, I don't
Can
think
we
so.
blame can we blame Clive?
I don't want to blame him. I really love him a lot, and I don't want to blame him for anything. Anything. I love him. He also had a chat show that was airing at in the same era as Whose Line, and he basically, you can find it on YouTube. I don't know what it's called. You can find it just by searching Clive Anderson.
Right.
He basically just had people on to like fuck with them for a half hour on BBC4. It was fantastic. And Stephen Fry was on that several times as well.
Of course.
So, and they would fuck with each other back and forth. It was kind of
naturally.
Yeah.
So
so there's where are we?
Well, here's what I was about to do.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a choice here.
Okay,
We can transition into the week's events.
Yes.
Or I can tell you about random thoughts I had while I was at work this week.
Let's go with random thoughts and see if we get to week's events.
I mean, it will probably happen at some
Everyone's heard what's happening.
Yeah.
Happening.
Yeah. So this week has been very boring.
Okay. I've also been bored this week.
Which makes my mind wonder.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to throw this out to you.
Okay.
Just a quick query here.
Yeah.
Which is weirder?
Okay.
Okay. A guy who walks without moving his arms at all,
Okay.
or a guy who walks while moving his arms too much?
Not at all. Not at all. Now,
Okay, you say that,
I say that.
but I assume, and you're doing like I did initially, moving your arms too much, you're picturing like a speed walker. You're picturing a guy who's moving way too fast while he's walking.
Yeah, I mean, I am picturing a guy who's
Okay.
moving fast while he's walking.
Right. Now, take that.
Okay.
Delete that image.
Okay.
Imagine a guy walking slowly while his arms extend to the sky with each step.
Okay.
Very slowly and deliberately.
This guy is not Richard Simmons?
It could be.
Okay.
Either way, it's weird.
I see Richard Simmons doing this for some reason.
Okay, picture it with Richard Simmons.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Arms straight down to his side.
It's weird.
Versus arms while slowly meandering.
It's weird because I'm picturing him with like double long arms. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Well, they would seem longer because, right. I mean,
the motion.
If he's doing this, he's not holding them stiff. They're like weird Gumby arms
to be
swinging about.
To be fair to the listener, you're doing like a loose penguin arm.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
Kind of thing. Yeah, okay. All right.
They're just like flapping about in the breeze.
Here's the thing. Can I just break this down for you?
Yeah.
I feel like someone who walks straight-armed without moving them is like maybe a sociopath.
Well, yeah.
Right?
I mean, obviously they're a serial killer.
Right, because like people do that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could see like the sort of like, we're millennials, but I could see like the younger millennial like stuck to their device and just not moving the other arm.
Yeah.
I could see that as a possibility. Okay. So maybe that's not so bad. Wild movement of arms.
They're probably not murdering anyone.
Right.
But, okay, take murder out of the equation.
Okay. If you're walking very slowly and moving your arms with that much, like you're just
imagine
odd.
Someone walk by you,
you're just being
their
odd. Arms
swinging, and they glare at you menacingly while walking slowly by.
I don't find them as dangerous. Mm-hmm. I do find them probably more off-putting, though.
They're more off-putting.
Yeah.
But they're definitely not as menacing. It's weird.
It is. Well, because look, like we all know that there is this human thing that runs through human beings, right? Uh-huh. We do certain things in general. We smile at each other. Mm-hmm. We look each other in the eye.
Yeah.
We shake hands. You know, in most cultures, you do this with your head, it means no. You do this with your head, it means yes. We move our arms when we walk, at least slightly.
A little bit. It's important to do it a little bit.
Well,
get some momentum going.
You got to.
If you don't swing your arm, your watch doesn't count your steps.
I knew you would work pedometers,
but
somehow
if you do it too much,
yeah,
it thinks you're taking gigantic steps.
or you're swimming or something. You're doing the backstroke. So, a person who doesn't move their own their arms. Wow, I feel like the Tao is breaking in. A person who doesn't move their arms at all when they're walking, seems off.
Yeah.
In that kind of like, hey, my brain's not right.
They're not mentally there.
Kind of way.
Whereas
and it's
the
not
arms.
Yeah.
This is why I go to arm swinging.
Yeah.
The arms straight down, they're not there. But the arms swinging wildly, that's a conscious decision.
I was going to say that. It's a choice. That is a choice.
You have thought it through, and you've gone, I'm going to walk in an exaggerated method.
You're right.
It's just the way I like to move about. Everyone else is walking that way. No, thank you.
I'd like to get my momentum going a little bit here. On a downhill, if you're moving your arms a lot, you might fall over.
Yeah. Oh, it would be bad.
It could be horrendous. I hope you have health insurance.
Yeah. So I took a poll at work.
Okay.
Wow. And it was a split decision.
But how many
amongst
people
my
did you ask? Okay.
Two people.
Okay.
Two people.
Everett and...
Yeah. I demonstrated both of them. And I almost... So, the two people I asked...
You were bored.
Yeah. I asked my my older coworker. He's about 40.
Can we call him Yuval?
Yeah. And I asked my younger female coworker. She's about
Everett.
22.
Everetta.
Yeah. So he was all on board with the arm swinging.
Okay.
She was arms straight down.
Yeah.
Until I demonstrated by walking by her cubicle a few times the arm swinging method.
Yeah.
And then she was kind of like undecided a little bit.
Okay. I do have issues with your sample size.
It's not great.
Well, but you did get a male and a female.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that I think for women, women are better at picking up on creepy than men are.
Yeah, well, that's definitely true.
Because they
have to worry about it.
Like and this is actually, this came up on the Tao podcast, oddly enough. But I've noticed this in my life too. There have been guy friends that I've had where I've talked to my wife or other female friends about them. And no matter what we're saying about them, they're like, I don't know about that guy. Like, they just get a weird vibe.
You're talking about me, aren't you?
No, not you. Actually, you I'm not going to say you have a way with the ladies.
Well.
But you don't make them like...
I'm straightening my imaginary bow tie right now.
Right, because you're wearing a Ramones t-shirt. I won't say you have a way with the ladies, but you don't make them feel uncomfortable.
I try not to. It's one of my goals in life to not make any lady feel uncomfortable to be in a room with me.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's a modest goal.
I'm very lucky, as we all are. I think all men, all conscious men, feel lucky to have a wife at all.
That's like 30% of men you just said right there.
Right, because like it just seems like improbable that it should happen.
Well, we're gross.
Yeah.
We're all gross.
And we I mean, I don't know, like every time I had a girlfriend, I was just so grateful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just so extreme, because I'm like, you don't have to do this, you know.
There are a lot better choices you could make with your time.
That's right.
Than this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's a lot of guys.
Yeah.
A lot of guys that are woke, let's say.
Any guy who doesn't realize that, shaping up.
You need to drop him.
Get smart.
To the ladies who are listening, of which there are maybe none, you need to drop him.
I wish we had more ladies listening.
He needs to appreciate you.
If we have ladies listening, email.
Would you let us know?
Us, please.
Please. I think we're curious now.
I feel like we have become a very guy-oriented podcast, mostly because we both have penises.
As of now, yes.
Peni.
That's
the plural I've
There's
chosen.
3.
I
say
feel like we
2.
need more female energy.
I would love that. If you are indeed a female listener, we would love to hear from you. Particularly. Yeah. So girls, I think, pick up on creepy dude energy.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of it.
So
I think it's actually harder for them to not pick up on it because it's everywhere they go.
That's true. That's true. We're putting ourselves in the shoes here, the flats.
Yeah.
Of the ladies a little bit.
Not the heels. I can't handle that.
I don't think I could either.
No,
I think I'd die.
you.
I mean, maybe in time, but
No. It feels like it would be pokey.
Well, men's bodies too. I don't know if you've noticed, but men's bodies are kind of like a downward triangle.
Yeah.
And women's bodies, there's variance, right? There's a lot of variance, but women's bodies tend to they have hips.
There's a curvature.
There's a curvature happening, which is wonderful. It's a wonderful curvature. I love it. I love every single instance of it in the world.
It's good. Yeah.
So I feel like being that we come to a triangle, the widest part of me is just shoulders, right?
Yeah.
And then everything else goes down, right? I feel like putting myself up on points, it just doesn't work geometrically.
You know what? You say
somehow.
that.
Yeah.
But I have been to Play.
Play is a gay club. Here in Nashville.
And there was a drag show at Play.
Okay.
And they can work those high heels like you wouldn't believe.
Practice.
Yeah. Oh, it takes a lot of practice, I'm sure.
Yeah. Practice.
I mean, a lot of commitment there.
I have not been to
Good
that.
for them.
But I would like to go to that.
Good luck. Here's the thing.
I think I can go. There's no question of me
and
not
this
going.
is when I realized that I 100% really just don't care about sexual orientation.
Yeah.
Nothing bugged me about Play. Aside from
Play is
the music choices.
Well, that's true. I can see that. I've been to Pride and loved it, but the and I like synthesizers, but the extreme synth pop
the
Cher situation.
Play, it was like Cher, and they in the dance area they were playing Nicki Minaj.
No.
I don't think
there's
so.
better dance music even.
Surely gay people have better taste in music than that.
I know they do.
Come on.
I know they do.
Come on.
I'm sure they do.
So the other thought I had.
Okay. Well.
Transitioning. So I was thinking a good way to make myself more interesting.
You're pretty
in
interesting.
life. Well, but to make myself more interesting.
See how I'm cheerleading for you, though?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Would be to develop a good phobia.
Okay.
Not a lot of people are afraid of snakes or ladders or
Yeah.
heights or anything like that. But let's say we went out in public.
Okay.
And I just lost it every time I saw a blonde lady. I just freaked out. Someone in that crowd would go, that guy's kind of interesting.
Well, since we are where we are, you would freak out about every 2 or 3 seconds.
Oh, it
There's
would be a lot of freaking out. Yeah.
I'm picturing you on Broadway, which is the main drag here in Nashville.
On Broadway, I would just be full panic attack mode. I would go fetal about 3rd Street.
Everything you guys think about Nashville, if you don't live here, by the way, exists in maybe 4 blocks.
Yeah.
It's not a
That's
lot.
it.
That's it. The rest of the city could give a fuck. But there's about 4 blocks where it's all cowboy hats and honky tonks and bachelorette parties experiencing those things.
Yes.
And occasionally a snake person. If you go back and listen to our episode on the street, we talked to some snake people.
Which was interesting.
Indeed. I don't know if it's a hard listen or not. I have no idea.
It was the most sincere snake person I've ever met. I'll say that. But
they were evangelical about the snakes. Yeah.
If I were going down Broadway, I'd be gone almost immediately, just freaking out. And at some point, I would go fetal if I had this phobia. I would probably be surrounded by a horde of people going, "What's wrong with that guy?" That's That's a sign of interest right there.
And
that's a way of showing interest. I'm immediately more interesting.
And I would whip out your thunder jacket and wrap you in it.
It's so shiny. So
thunder jacket.
That's the kind of stuff I thought about, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this.
Okay.
For 2 hours.
Wow.
Yesterday.
Wow. Nathan. Wow. Wow. You need more to do.
Actually,
no, you don't.
No.
This is wonderful.
Yeah, well, I was doing things while I did it. It was just mindless stuff.
Yeah.
And
I
so
feel you.
I was doing mindless stuff, and therefore the mind goes to interesting places.
I accomplished a significant amount of work today while also experiencing the same things.
Mm-hmm.
The day passed very quickly.
Yeah.
And I ate my Mexican food from Chuy's, and I felt like it took me an hour and a half to eat it. Everything was like super just time passing, like I was in the stream.
Yeah.
I was thinking about synthesizers a lot today. I was in the stream of the synth world. But like when I sat down to eat my fajitas, like time stopped. It's actually kind of wonderful when you think about it.
Until later, when you have a nice big hot brown.
Well, I was so tired. Fuck you. I just was so tired later on. Just so tired. All right. We have to cover a little something because it's been...
Well, how much time do we have left?
I mean, I don't know, like 2 minutes.
Well, I can cover it in hot takes.
Let's do it. Hot takes.
Now, I'm gonna prepare everyone here. These are hot takes off the dome. That's right.
Should I give you a beat?
Yeah. I mean, I need the beat. Well, no, I mean, not from you. Just stop that. I want the music.
From later.
Give me the music.
Fuck. I don't have it like on.
All right, so this week, after many days of Donald Trump Jr. Being involved in a story the New York Times was reporting about, that's perfect, about meeting with a Russian attorney trying to get dirt on Hillary Clinton during the campaign. Like he had denied it many, many times. He then, earlier this week, released the email stream himself on Twitter showing that he had, in fact, gone to meet this person with the express purpose of getting information on Hillary Clinton.
He did indeed.
Okay. Now, my question to you, good sir.
Sorry, I'm mixing.
No, but you have to answer the question.
Okay.
Is, what's the next thing he decides to release on Twitter that's going to incriminate him?
Pictures of his bachelorette party.
There's going to be so many penises. Just so many inflatable penises there.
By the way, if I ever have a bachelorette party, I'll take a little bit of both.
A little bit of...
Yeah.
Of both...
genders.
Oh, I didn't know
There's
if you
more
meant
than
like
one gender.
both
Sexes.
colors of inflatable penis.
Well, that too.
Okay.
Let's have a rainbow. No, the other thing to point out about that, Jared Kushner was at that meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Paul Manafort was at that meeting.
And now they're saying other Russians were at the meeting.
There are at least two Russians. Two Russians.
I just think it's an interesting tactic.
Oh, my God.
To go, no, it didn't happen. Okay, well, here's the proof that everything you thought happened.
How many lawyers... Look, there are more lawyers defending people in this administration than there are seats filled within this administration.
That's true.
There is a empty desk for, like, deputy director of, like, clean water.
I will remind you that Trump's lawyer has hired a lawyer.
A lawyer, indeed.
They have lawyers on lawyers on lawyers.
Did you hear, by the way, this ties it all back together, Nathan, for baseball.
Okay.
Did you hear that it is Eric Trump, not Donald Trump Jr., right? It is Eric Trump.
Which one? That met with the Russians?
That met with the Russians.
That was Donald Trump Jr.
Oh, shit, okay.
Eric Trump would not be given anything that major to do.
So, good point. So, Donald Trump Jr.'s lawyer's name is Ty Cobb. He is, in fact, a relative, a direct descendant.
Oh, good.
That guy, Ty Cobb, the biggest asshole in baseball.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. Hall of Famer. Also hated minorities and loved to spike people.
There you go.
Loved it. So
Cadre of assholes.
After
Yeah.
After this email was leaked, there were mentions about having DJT Jr., as I'm going to call him, speak in front of Congress to testify about what the meeting was.
Yeah.
Donald Trump said that he would be willing to have this happen.
So he's throwing his kid under the bus.
The question I have here,
His namesake.
is, number one,
Okay.
is this the approval that Donald Trump Jr. has always wanted? Like, Trump is finally approving that he can do something. Now, it's testifying in front of Congress in a hearing that's definitely going to get him in more trouble, but still, he's saying, hey, kid, you can do it. So, there's that question.
Yes.
Part two.
Okay. All right.
How far would things have to go before Donald Trump went, no, you guys leave my kid alone. This comes back to me.
Well, that's not going to happen. That is not. Look, we are going to see him on trial before Congress at some point, him being the president.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, we're going to see everybody up to Melania and Barron in front of Congress if he can help.
I'm actually really looking forward to the Baron testifying. It's going to be so good.
He knows a lot about computers.
I just have a feeling, and this is probably very politically incorrect to say,
Okay.
but if I heard Barron Trump testifying in front of Congress, it would be the most I wanted to hit a 13-year-old in history. 13? Maybe less than that?
I think he's like 11.
11?
I don't know. I have no idea. He could be 9 with growth hormones.
And I mean, this is solely based on his family. He may be a lovely child. I don't know.
You know what? Out of all of them that I've seen, besides Melania, who I feel horrible for, and Tiffany.
And poor Tiffany.
We know.
You know who's not going to get called to testify in front of Congress? Tiffany, because they'll forget she existed.
Barron, however, will be there with bells on. And he can talk to them the whole time about computers. Because he's amazing with them, right. As we learned on the campaign trail.
He's amazing. He knows all the Facebooks.
This kid, my son with the computers. It's amazing.
Just because you're amazed by it doesn't mean he's great. It just means you're old. That's all it means. In France this week.
Yeah. Oh, baby. I'm so glad you got to this. I'm so glad you got to this.
Donald Trump was greeting the president, and then multiple times to the president's wife, the French First Lady, and to the president, mentioned how great of shape she is in.
Oh, man.
And how great that is. My question to you,
Yeah.
over and under.
Okay.
I want an over-under here.
All right.
How many world leaders' spouses will Donald Trump treat like meat during his presidency?
Does that include the many wives of Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
Okay. 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you taking the over on 14?
I'm
Do you
thinking
think it's going to be more than 14?
more than 14.
Okay.
Well, there's the G20. So keep that in mind. Every one of those people has a spouse. Or partner of some kind.
Oh.
The thing to remember about Macron, our fearless leader in France, Macron, he's married to an older lady. So the fact that Trump said she's in great shape is pretty fucking shitty, actually.
And I will point out, by the way, and this is not meant, I mean, she is in good shape. It just adds extra insult, I think.
It's just gross.
If a blob of a human being
right.
is objectifying you.
Right. This all goes back to his misogyny. Because
you're in great shape. Also, I'm going to have 5 Big Macs tonight.
for starters. Have you seen those guys on Epic Mealtime? It's my favorite cooking show.
I find it amazing, and I know money does interesting things in life.
Oh, man, does it?
But that a person who is the shape of a rotting pear,
Oh, I like that.
we'll say a rotting pear, is allowed to objectify women, and half of the country goes, okay,
That's where we're at.
it's fine,
That's-
whatever.
2017, baby. That's where we are.
And lastly,
Okay.
here,
All right.
Michael Caputo,
Okay.
he was an advisor in the Trump campaign,
Ah, yes.
said that he denied having any knowledge
Okay.
of any contact with Russia. Now, here's the real question here. Does this mean that people like Kushner, because Kushner and Manafort were involved,
They were involved.
were going behind the back of everyone else in the campaign? Or is Michael Caputo a tremendous liar?
I'm going to go with tremendous liar. He wasn't the
Yeah.
guy that came out and said, like, hey, I was there too, just so everyone knows.
No. He said, I spent my time in front of the committee detailing the fact that I had no contact with the Russians. So he's actually, in a way, like trying to throw everyone else under the... Because
Right.
have definitive proof
Right.
that the campaign did have contact with the Russians.
Yes. We
He
now
went
have that.
in front of a committee and went, look, I didn't do it.
My question is,
They definitely did. Not this guy.
I have two things. Number one, I was going to ask you how you thought Bob Mueller was feeling right now.
Bob Mueller is happy, and here's why.
Okay.
He's not having to do any investigation because Donald Trump Jr. is just going, here,
Hey!
you want to look into things? Well, I got all the proof right here.
My second question, how is James Beauregard, that's not his middle name, that's Jeff Sessions' middle name,
Yeah.
Comey
Yeah.
feeling right now?
Slightly vindicated.
Slightly vindicated.
Also, I would say pretty happy that everyone is so distracted with this that they're not talking about how there might have been classified information in some of his notes. Comey was not good at his job.
I wonder if he, on his podcast
Yeah.
right now, I wonder what he's talking about.
By the way, his podcast, Comey Time,
Comey time.
it talks about mostly model trains.
It is his place of peace. I mean, to be fair, the other thing that he does on his podcast, he gets on there with Neil Gorsuch and just swaps witticisms of the 1950s. It's a very pleasant show.
Oh,
It's a very
actually,
pleasant show.
I feel like if he were to have a podcast, you would listen to it and just feel like a slightly better person
Yeah.
by the end of it, just because it was so clean. It would be a lot of gosh golly.
Squeaky.
Yeah.
Squeaky.
Gosh golly, guys.
Gosh golly.
You guys seen what's in the news? Gosh golly. Well, anyway,
Moving on.
the model train set that we have this week,
It's really coming together.
it's a 00 set.
I got 15 oil cars. I painted all of them the same color of orange. Oh, fuck.
So anyway, on top of that, we have a bonus quick hit here.
Are you kidding?
Well, I had forgotten about this.
Okay, all right. Even better.
So this is a follow-up quick hit.
okay.
You might recall a while back I mentioned that Kid Rock had considered running for Senate.
Indeed.
Kid Rock this week launched a website to help him get elected to Senate.
Okay.
Now, here's my question for you.
Okay.
How screwed are we as a country? Just regular screwed or Mondo screwed? knowing that Kid Rock may have a shot at being in the Senate.
Mondo screwed whilst comfortably slipping into the silk slipper of a second-hand country.
Yeah.
Right above Europe, but not too far above Europe, right under China.
I'll just remind everyone, this is the rapper that transitioned nearly seamlessly into country music.
Oh, absolutely.
No, he should not. I saw him on an episode of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives with Guy Fieri. That should immediately disqualify him from any political seat ever.
He's also the only guy to ever use Sheryl Crow as a bridge.
That's true.
To get from one genre to another. Sushi Jackknife.
Sushi Jackknife.
God damn.